Hey, in this video, I'm finally going to go look into the scripting and the Unity project for that interactive map. And I'm going to do that to sort of show how I'm putting it together. So what we're going to do here is make some new music or use some new music that I've already prepared because I don't want to waste everyone's time making it, and show how I move that into a project in this case, Unity. So let's get into it. This might be a long video. Let's start by looking at the Reaper project that I'm working from. So basically I have this song, and this particular track is going to be available. I'll link to it. It's on my itch page as sort of a tool. So this is made with some music tools that I made. Clicking around, it's basically a what is this 2-minute 42-second song, and it is made out of some samples that I made and some synth presets that I made, and all of this actually runs in stock Reaper, so you don't need to download any additional stuff. And basically what I do to make sure that I don't have to write like a horrifying amount of music and only write like a medium horrifying amount of music is to separate it into parts. That way I can use my music system that I made to sort of build arrangements out of these parts. And, you could do this in something like Wise or Fmod. This is a pretty simple system, so I didn't really need to do that. And I didn't really feel like dealing with Wise to do a system that's not like incredibly complicated dynamic music. This is really just, I guess, a scheduled music system, I would call it. But anyway, so what we do here is chop it up into what we think is an appropriate cue. So in this case, I just will click on this and separate the part, and then I'll hold control and copy it over. So now I've got this cue, right? And that one I already separated. It's over here somewhere. But after I do that, what I'll do is I'll just actually make one from scratch here so we can watch. I'll highlight the area that I'm working with and hit Shift R to make a region. I don't know if that's default or if I set that. And we're gonna have to adjust the region length because we're gonna need a post roll. Basically, if you listen to this, you can hear the delay and reverb are fading past that point. So we can't just call this, an 8-bar loop and move on, even though that would work in Reaper, because we need the audio to keep playing. We need the next cue to keep playing, rather. So once you've got this, you sort of determine how much of a post roll you need. And in this case, I think I decided to do 2 bars of post roll because it goes to somewhere around here. I didn't use metering to be super accurate. You don't really need to be super accurate. It's like you might save a couple of megabytes after you're done with the entire massive project, but not a super meaningful amount. And the quality of life improvement's worth it to me. And then if you've got a pre-roll, you add pre-roll time. And in my system, we are working with, let's see here, actually. We want this. So in Reaper, you have wildcards in your file naming convention, and I am using this particular list of wildcards to create my cues that will be abused by the code. So basically, this, if you copy it, goes into oops, wrong thing. It goes into your file name, so you can just copy paste that in basically, and again, use whatever you want or whatever your programmer wants, but this is what I use, and that's going to automatically name the files. So like this one here is going to be become project name, so SK1Qs region number 01 underscore tempo BPM 120 BPM, time signature 4-4, length beats 10.0.0. That's going to be bars after the first whole number. And then region name is at the end here. And region name, I'll go back to this, is going to be the number of pre-roll measures in underscore and then post-roll measures out. So that's what I'm doing with that. And in this case, this would be 0 in underscore 2 out. And then that region is going to get rendered, all of this information basically, with that on the end of the file name in this case. So that's what that does. I'm going to not use this since I already have it over here. And I'll show you the ones I've got here. So 0 in and 2 out. And this one has 1 in. So again, if you don't know what a pre-roll is, it's something that happens before a cue. So basically there's only 2 beats of it, but in this case, just for ease of access, I'm making it 1 bar. I am partially doing that because I was thinking through this video because I needed to append or add something to this code because it was having a problem with the post roll. So anyway, there's what is this? 5 cues. And then basically what we do is we go into our region render matrix, which is over here. In my version of Reaper, that's important to know. If you don't know where any of this stuff is, hit what is that? Question mark. I can't remember what it is on Mac, but type in region render matrix and then show region render matrix window. I have it set to Control-Shift-R since I use it a lot. Some people don't use it at all. And basically what that does is I'm going to grab the master mix of each of these regions. If you wanted to, you could get just the drum track of that one and this one, but that's really good if you're doing fully dynamic music, but it's not really helpful to me here because I'm doing fully mixed cues. So once you got those, you are going to render them and they're just going to automatically render. So I like to put fade on and I'll do a fade out. This basically makes sure that the cue doesn't get cut off completely if I underestimated the amount of post roll it needs. So render 5 files. They already exist because I already did this. Let me just get rid of these. I'll delete the files and do it again. So render 5 files. And this is just automatically going to render them as many as you want. You can do this between multiple projects too. It's great. Reaper will let you render 6,000 files if you need to. I hope you don't need to do that many in one sitting, but you can do that and leave it on overnight and hope your computer doesn't crash. Cool. Open folder. We've got this now. These are the cues. That's what it looks like. Let's go bring these over to Unity now. Where's Unity? Here we are. And where did that folder go? You can just drag these in. I made a folder for it already. Unity will bring them in. And I recommend going in and adjusting the compression settings. You could do I find that around 70% quality and optimized sample rate usually works. Some hi-fi synths and solo piano, things like that will start having audible distortion at this point. But if you look at the original size, 50.6 megabytes, and we're going to end up with, now it's 1.6 megabytes. So it's, what is that, 35, 40 times smaller. Really, really helpful. And it's still going to sound great, as you'll see, especially when you have background noise. So I've got this test location that I made in here. I'm going to turn that one on. And I made that have its own button up here in the top of the map. Let me change so we can see the other side of this. Basically, this game object has my playlist picker script. I'll show you that one in a little bit. And it has, I just put a circle collider, which is representing the clickable area. and a sprite renderer, and I just picked the loading screen image. So that's this guy right here. That's all there is to that. Most of this is in here, and we need essentially a scheduled music object to put in the explore playlist. So let's make that real quick. I guess I can do this, and I'll create an empty game object, test music, and I will, let me bring the inspector over here so we can see it in the screen. I need to have scheduled music on this, and the scheduled music can have all of these cues, and that's just audio clips, just an array of audio clips. And I guess that's pretty much all we need to do, but I'll show you some of the other features that I worked into this. So test location, explore playlists, test music. I'll just have one. It supports multiple playlists in this particular version. And then if I save the project and play it, let's see what happens. Hopefully it works. So if I click that button, it should play that song. And it should be queuing up the next cue here in a moment. And then 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's that. What do you call it? Pre-roll. I got some debug text here. Basically, this is the audio settings.dsp time, which I actually have displaying in the inspector if I need to. But let's let this play for a little bit, and then we can make some changes to it and see what else is available. Symbol. I spent like 30 seconds on this song. I meant to say minutes, but whatever. 15 minutes maybe. Okay, so this is in its current state basically going to loop the song because I put the cues in order. So let's look at the test music again. And a couple of things we can do here. So I'm going to take this number 1 cue and put it in intro cue. And I'm going to remove element 0 from the array. And now it should only play that first cue at the beginning of the song and never play it again. So it'll loop through everything else. And then another thing I can do is shuffle after use, which is going to shuffle it after it plays through everything in order. And I also have shuffle for the ones that I just want to play in a random order here. So I'm going to use shuffle after use. And I will take cue 5 and call that the outro, and so that it's periodic, and this is our wait time in bars basically. So let's see how this feels. Let's play this version of it. Maybe it works. Oh, so my periodic has a wait time at the beginning as well. And that's for areas that I want to feel more like lazy, because I don't want the background ambiance to stand out more than the music at the beginning. So I would have to change the minimum wait time. Oh no, I'm sorry. I think it's in the location. Oh, the periodic. I shouldn't have done periodic. Periodic just does time between each cue. So I'll do this. Test music. Ending cue. Yeah, this will be fine. I think this works. So this is our intro. I guess we're going to be waiting here for a little bit. Music Manager, again, has 2 audio sources. And you can tell which ones are queued up. So right now, Q2 is the one that's playing. And this will become Q3 in a moment here. There it is. Okay. That seems to be working right now. Anyway, I'm going to leave this on while I start going through the script, I think. So we're basically using that file name. And we are going to split our string at that underscore. And that's why every single important piece of information has an underscore between it. So each section is going to have its own string that we are going through, and we're going to find out what information is important there. So in this case, this one's tempo. Info sub at array position 1, right? And this is the ending queue, so hopefully it ends after this and shuffles. We'll see. But anyway. We're going to end up with time signature is going to need to have this is how I did this. It's 2 strings, so this is going to stop. Hopefully it plays again. Let me actually see if it's shuffling properly. So yeah, look at this is now shuffled. So now Q5 is at the beginning in this particular version of it, which is going to lead to it ending and taking a break after that. So we'll see. Anyway, basically we're grabbing the top and bottom number of the time signature, and then we're going to grab the length in bars, and then we're going to grab the pre-roll. And then here, in the first version of this script, I hadn't accounted for post-roll, and I had already rendered out all of the audio, which is a huge mistake. So basically, I needed to have this thing done, and I like needed it like within a few days, basically, because I was planning to use it for my D&D campaign, and I didn't have like regular linear versions of any of the music, so I was just like didn't have time to actually change it. So I went in and just manually changed the file names, and I subtracted the post roll number from the length of each song. So a huge amount of the cues in this project are misnamed, basically. So I have to, instead of re-rendering them or doing that all again, I just did it in code. So this is just a band-aid right here. And this is just looking in the last section where the post roll is. And then we are subtracting the post roll from the length in bars. That way we can have a musical length and a non-musical length. And that's going to let us decide at what point to accurately play the next, whatever you call it, the next cue. So this seems to be working fine. I'm going to stop the playback now so we can focus more on the build and see how I did this. I want to know what to fix here, because part of the reason I'm putting this up is so my programmer friends can yell at me for how bad my scripting is. It's like, I'm sure there's so many bad practices in here. Because I've never had a job programming, so I don't know what like you're supposed to do. I just do what has worked for me. Okay, so what do we got here? That's what we're doing to figure out what the Q info is. This stuff is mostly stuff that's covered in the, what do you call it? The scheduled music guide for Unity. This is like amazing if you're a Unity developer that does anything with audio. This person, what is it? John Leonard French's guide to Unity scheduled music systems is like, it's amazing. So I used some of the information from that to create this. I'll link to that in the description. Basically, what we're doing is figuring out how long the clip is. So the amount of samples divided by the frequency. So the frequency is like usually going to be 44,100 or 48,000, 96,000, whatever. And the samples is just the length in samples of the track. And that's going to give you an amount of seconds, basically. And then you get the musical duration by essentially removing the reverb trails and stuff like that at the end. So in this case, it's the length in bars multiplied by the bar length, which is an amount of bars. So like 4 bars times an amount of seconds. This one just calculates the time until the next bar. That's useful in some situations in mind, like for the combat. I try to like make it happen at a more of the crossfades and stuff at more of a musical time. I didn't make transition cues or anything like that. Like, it's not really a dynamic system, but it works well enough. This one grabs the pre-roll from the next cue, which is really, really important. So you don't have a big blank space between cues when you have some type of transitional material. This one grabs the seconds, the pre-roll seconds. This is probably should be part of the get cue info. I should be grabbing the cue info, 1 cue in advance. But again, this is sort of a band-aid script, and I don't feel like fixing it. This one I don't really want to get into. This one was a nightmare to create. Basically, I was running into a bug where in the scheduled music system, sometimes it's changed the toggle position, so it's planning to play the next cue like half a second before whenever it's scheduling it, and then it would double play, so it would play like that next cue and the one that's currently playing in situations where it was in that tiny window of time between the next cue's pre-roll and the first cue's post-roll. So this one just basically figures out which cue of the two were further along in samples, essentially. So basically, if you're further along in one of the 2 cues, then you're going to be playing that one. That's the one that you're currently on. Stupid piece of, computers are great, but they only do what they're told. And if what you're telling it to do is something that makes sense to a person, but it's hard to actually explain. You have to, give them math because computers like math. Let's go to the main part of it up here. This is like sort of the main thing that's happening. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail with it because there's that amazing article that I will link to. This is basically looking for, is the music playing, and is the current time past the time when we want to schedule the next cue, which next start time is the time where we want the cue to be playing. Like, we want beat 1, basically. This is beat 1. And then subtracting the pre-roll length. So if there's 2 bars of pre-roll, we want that to be included. So 2 bars before beat 1. And then this one is I'm giving it half a second to find something. So this is obviously a place where there could be a problem. I haven't gone to really troubleshoot this and optimize it and figure out what works best. I experimented with 1 half a second to a couple of different amounts, and I played with them. And basically, too long and you can't have short cues. Too short and the system misses cues, especially on a slower computer. Then basically, if that happens, we're either going to switch music or schedule the next cue, depending on if we are in like a new area in the map. Switch music is basically going to switch the currently playing playlist and pick the one that matches whatever the last clicked button was. And I'm not going to go into the logic of that because that would take a long time. You can see how many scripts are in this project. It's like There's a lot of scripts in this project. Start music is the let's get started kind of a thing. It's going to play the first cue. Fade music is going to use an audio fader script. I'll skim that one for us in a moment. Schedule next cue is the sort of important one where it's planning the next cue that's going to play, and this is the one that makes sure it happens in real time. The most important thing you're doing here is making sure you're using the audio settings time for accuracy. So it has to be like that double. Floats don't work. I've tried it. They end up with awkward gaps. And you need to be in your update loop. It doesn't really work. I've tried doing this type of script in coroutines, and that doesn't seem to work. It works if your computer's good, but like the second you're running on a slower computer, you'll end up with like space between your beats, and it's horrible. And I mean, the better way to do this would be to generate the waveform at runtime. So you're going to grab the actual PCM information from the waveforms and draw a new waveform, and that's going to give you the best results. But I didn't feel like doing that because I read about this scheduled music system thing, and I was like, oh, that's a good solution for what I'm trying to do here, and it works fine for this particular type of thing. But you kind of need to use the PCM thing if you're doing like I would imagine that's important if you're doing like a rhythm game. I actually don't know if you have to, but like stuff like the Guitar Hero squeaks and things like that, like to have those happen in what feels like real time, I think you probably need to do it like the like serious way. Okay, I have a system with outros. That's mostly has to do with the combat system. This is preparing the first cue. So intro cue of a new playlist. This, I don't remember if I'm still using this one. I think I might be, and that might be related to situations where I want the music changed right away. And then end the cue next bar is like basically trying to find the next downbeat and making the crossfade feel like it sort of happens musically. Again, it's not really the greatest script, so I don't want you to go in and think that you can copy this and have it work really well. It's like a huge amount of this script is just a mess that I haven't gone back and fixed yet because I'm still working on finishing it. So let's take a look at the audio fader real quick. The audio fader in the update loop is basically going to lerp between the current volume and zero, or zero and the target volume. I think this one might actually just go from one to nothing. Yeah, it's just going. This is just a fade out script. I don't have any fade in scripts because all of the music starts when it's supposed to. And essentially it just is going to grab the audio sources and fade them out. So it's going to make the program will make an audio fader if it needs to crossfade between playlists. This is the scheduled music thing. This is still kind of messy. I was playing with it a little bit, and there's still a few things I want to add. Like I haven't added volume by clip because I'm making all my own cues, so I can just set the volume in my DAW. But if I was working with other people, I would probably add a bunch of other tools to this, like to control the output volume and basically control certain features from playlist to playlist instead of just having like master volume and that's it. Basically, all that's going on here is that we are storing a bunch of audio clips in here that are going to get fed into the scheduled music system. So that's what's going on there. Back over in the Unity project, we've got let's see. some type of randomization, some different versions of stuff. This one particularly actually is not, this is a different script. This is like a type of location button that has multiple playlists that I made. So this actually is important to the music system as well, but it's also like storing some of the information about the ambiance and stuff like that. So in this case, I just pre-fed it in before making the video. So it's got an array of possible ambiances that it'll play. And the ambiances and ambience one-shot doubles and one-shots are all going to have different rules. I'll get into that some other time. It's that one's, I think, messier than the music system, but it feels pretty good. And I like it. But anyway, that's the majority of it. And the main thing I wanted to make this video for was to share the this really amazing piece of Reaper's ability to just name stuff and dump a ton of metadata into your file names, and then be able to grab that stuff with a script and use it. So anyway, that's the majority of it. If there's anything really specific that you guys want to see, or if there are any of those scripts you want to have access to, I've been lazy about I've been doing like local version control. Was messing with the file sizes and trying to get it to upload to GitHub, and then trying to learn large file storage GitHub, and it's just like, oh god, I need to work with a real programmer. someone explain that stuff to me, or link me to a video explaining how to do some of those things, because I'm learning. So yeah, let me know if you want to see the process of planning any of this stuff, or how I would add other features. Happy to even add features like probability and stuff like that to this, just to have some content for the channel and show how I would do that. But that's all I got for today. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this wasn't mind-numbingly boring. I'll see you all next time.